is in the New Testament, the job of the prophet is to create the communities that can hear God for themselves. Yeah, you're quite right. All right, we're still here.
Ja, stadigvæk.
Can I just say, it's such a relief when we have a break and you all come back.
Det er virkelig en lettelse, når vi har haft en pause, så kommer I alle sammen ind igen.
You know, I'm so grateful. Thank you.
Det er meget taknemmeligt. Tak skal I have.
Because sometimes it's like full, and you say, "Let's have a break," and then there's two people afterwards, and you think.
Du ved godt, det situationen er, når man har haft en pause, og så kommer kun 2 tilbage. Det er den, der er forfærdelig.
So thank you for staying. One more session.
Så tak fordi I blev her.
About half of this session is going to be some teaching on Ephesians 4.
Halvdelen af den her sektion kommer til at blive om Efeserne 4. Efeserne 4.
And then we'll do some open ministry where Kim and I and Merle will call out various things and ask you to respond to them.
Og så vil vi have noget betjening, hvor Ian og Merle vil komme med nogle ting, og så vi responderer på det.
Let me just be clear, make that much clearer. Let's say Preben. I might not go. Preben, God says this. What I might do is go. I've got a word of knowledge about something.
Og jeg vil ikke gøre sådan her. Preben, Gud siger sådan her, men jeg vil sige, jeg har en fornemmelse af en situation eller noget, og sige, hvem passer det på?
And if 2 or 3 people come forward, we'll pray for them.
Og hvis 2 eller 3 kommer frem, så vil vi bede for dem.
We'll pray for them where they are.
Måske beder vi bare for dem der, hvor de er.
And when that finishes,
og når vi er færdige med det,
what I'll do is invite everyone to go and sit a bit further back.
Så vil jeg gerne bede jer alle sammen om at rykke
and
tilbage.
And then if you'd like some personal prayer from Merle and I, just come and sit at the front.
Og hvis I vil have en personlig forbøn af Merle og Ian, så skal I komme frem og sidde på forreste række.
That's how it'll work, and we'll pray for you for 2 or 3 minutes.
Og vi beder en 2-3 minutter for hver enkelt.
And you know, we'll. So questions first before we get into the new material.
Så spørgsmål inden vi går ind i det nye.
A lovely one from my wife, actually.
Ja, en fra min kone faktisk.
Very good question.
Et godt spørgsmål. Can we hear it?
Yes, that'd be.
I said, if we can all hear God, why do we need to hear words from prophets?
Hvis vi alle kan høre fra Gud, hvorfor har vi så behov for at høre fra profeter?
I have no idea. I don't know the answer to that question.
Jeg ved det faktisk ikke. Jeg har ikke noget svar.
It's a good question, isn't it?
Faktisk et godt spørgsmål.
I would say the role of a New Testament prophetic person.
Men jeg tror, at
I'm going to talk a little bit about the office of a prophet.
En ny testamentets profet er nok noget andet. Derfor jeg vil tale om det tjenesten.
Yeah, I'm going to talk about the role of the New Testament apostle, prophet, pastor team.
Jeg vil tale om de funktioner, som er på legemet, det er apostel, profet, lærer, hyrde og evangelist.
It was on there a moment ago. Yeah, that from Ephesians 4.
Fra Efeserne 4.
So there's a difference between the roles that people fulfill, and for another way of putting it, the ministry that anyone can have.
Der er forskel på at have funktionen og tjenesten.
So, for example, there is a role in the church of a prophet.
Der er en funktion i kirken for profeten.
But there's a ministry of prophecy that everyone can have.
Men der er tjenesten at profetere, som alle kan have.
So, if the question is, what is the role of a New Testament prophet?
Så hvad er funktionen af en nytestamentlig profet?
It's very clear in Ephesians 4.
Det er meget tydeligt i Efeserne 4. At det er de forskellige funktioner.
The job is to prepare people for works of service.
For at udruste.
To bring them into maturity.
At få dem til at blive modne.
To bring them on to Christ.
Og få dem til Kristus.
So, and this brings out a really interesting point, particularly for prophetic people.
Og det bringer noget helt specielt frem, specielt for profetiske folk.
So when I get to travel around and meet people and prophesy, I give lots of words of knowledge.
Når jeg rejser rundt og møder på folk og profeterer og giver mange kundskabsord.
In my home church,
i min hjemmekirke,
I'm realizing more and more my job is to build a community of prophetic people.
Så har jeg fundet ud af, at min rolle i kirken, det er at bygge et fællesskab af profetiske mennesker.
So, I mean, imagine having me every week.
Prøv at forestille jer, at jeg er der hver uge.
How about that would be?
Hvordan vil det
All
være?
the time, you know?
Hele tiden.
Downloading on all of you what you've gone through, and it just be horrible, wouldn't it?
At I downloader alt det, som I er gået igennem. Det vil være forfærdeligt for jer.
So the role of the New Testament prophet is to build everyone else up in their maturity and service, as is the role of the teachers and the evangelists.
Den nytestamentlige profets opgave er at opbygge, træne og udruste i menigheden, ligesom alle de andre tjenester.
Until it says we attain the full image of Christ.
Indtil vi når det fulde mål af Kristus.
So I think that means when I get to heaven,
Så det betyder, at når vi kommer til himlen,
I won't be going up to people and saying, God says this about you.
så kommer jeg ikke til at gå op til mennesker og sige, jeg fornemmer, at Gud siger sådan og sådan til dig.
Because you'll be saying, get out of the way, and I'm talking to them myself.
Så vil jeg sådan sige, flyt dig, Ian, jeg taler med ham selv.
Is that making sense?
Giver det mening?
I would say all of those roles
Jeg vil sige, at alle de her funktioner
are designed to become redundant in the end.
vil være uden funktion i enden.
Now, maybe not everyone would agree with me on that one.
Det kan godt være, at ikke alle er enige med mig i det her.
But in the end, when we get to heaven,
Når vi kommer til himlen,
we certainly don't need evangelists telling people about Jesus.
så har vi ingen behov for evangelister, som går ud og evangeliserer.
We don't need apostles building the heavenly communities on earth.
Og vi behøver ikke have apostle til at bygge de her kirker på jorden eller menigheder.
The shepherd who looks after the heart and the pain that people are in. Well, we're in heaven. There is no crying. There is no more tears.
Når hyrderne skal se efter alle de her smerter og ting, som folk går igennem, for i himlen, så er der ikke nogen tårer og ingen gråd.
Maybe there are teachers, but I sort of hope that what will end up is being taught by Jesus.
Måske er der lærer, men jeg håber da, at det er
sådan,
sådan, at vi kommer til at blive undervist af Jesus.
Yeah. Mel says she'll know everything in heaven.
Mel siger, hun vil kende alt i himlen, vide alt.
Will I as well? Is that what you just say?
Gælder det også mig?
So that's an answer to the question. Is that a decent answer? Is that okay?
Er det et ordentligt svar?
I think the key thing I want to communicate is the role of the New Testament prophet is to build the community, not do it themselves.
Det, som jeg tror er nøglen, det som jeg vil ligesom pointere, det er, at den nytestamentlige profets opgave er at bygge et profetisk fællesskab.
Any other questions? Yes,
Andre spørgsmål?
Olivia.
Hvordan kan vi vide, at det, som kommer, det er det, vi hører, eller det profeten siger, hvordan kan vi vide, at det kommer fra Gud?
It's a good question, Olivia. Thank you.
Godt spørgsmål.
Here's how I view things.
Det er sådan her, jeg ser tingene.
If I know someone well,
hvis jeg kender nogen rigtig godt,
let's say I'm prophesying over Frank.
Hvis jeg siger, at jeg profeterer til Frank.
I know that Frank is mature enough to process what I say.
Jeg ved, at Frank er voksen nok, eller moden nok, til at tage de ting, jeg siger, og tænke over dem, at vurdere dem.
And put it in context of other things.
Og putte det i en kontekst af alt muligt andet.
So people need to, one of the things that people develop in maturity in,
noget af det, som folk lærer, når de modner,
is being able to respond to prophetic words.
Er det at kunne respondere rigtigt til profetiske ord.
For eksempel, you just gave me a prophetic word.
Jeg har lige fået et profetisk ord af Linda.
And as soon as she said it,
lige så snart hun sagde det.
Oh yeah, I'm hearing that all the time from loads of people at the moment.
Og så kunne jeg få sige, at vi har hørt det her fra masser af mennesker i øjeblikket. Det er en måde.
It's confirming what other people are saying.
Det er en bekræftelse af, hvad andre også siger.
Yeah. So I've recently just stopped being the pastor of a church.
Så for nylig har jeg lige stoppet med at være pastor i en kirke.
Here are the number of prophetic words I've had about traveling around the world and ministering to people. Here are the number of prophetic words I have about being a pastor.
Mængden af profetier og ting, der er blevet sagt, om jeg skal rejse og så videre, er blevet så stor, mens det med at være pastor, det er meget mindre.
So I've got a lot of words from a lot of different sources.
Så jeg har en masse ord fra en masse forskellige kilder.
That make me feel confident about this.
Så gav mig tillid til, at det her var det rigtige.
What I didn't do when I got the very first word.
Men jeg ikke gjorde, da jeg fik det første ord.
Book plane tickets.
Var det, jeg gik ud og købte flybilletter.
Everyone I knew saying,
og begyndte at skrive rundt.
I am now a prophet coming to your church.
Jeg er nu profet, jeg kommer til din kirke.
I'll be there on the 17th.
Jeg kommer den 17.
Clear your diary, you know.
Put det ind i din kalender.
What I actually did was thought, that's interesting.
Hvad jeg faktisk gjorde, var, at jeg tænkte,
I'll just let that grow.
det var interessant. Det tror jeg vil lade vokse.
I'll listen to lots of people.
Jeg vil lytte til en masse mennesker.
I'll talk to people I trust.
Jeg vil tale med mennesker, jeg stoler på.
And this is interesting. You know when people who surf on the sea,
Dem som surfer,
they go out to sea and then they sit there waiting for the wave.
Så sidder de derude og venter på, at den rigtige bølge skal komme.
There's a little bit of that, which is
Det er lidt på den måde.
I wait for the signal from God that this is the time for that particular thing.
Så det er ligesom at vente på det signalet fra Gud, at nu er det der.
If that makes sense.
Giver det
So,
mening?
for example, about 4 years ago, my good friend Kim,
For 4 år siden, der sagde Kim,
in his attic, prophesied
vi sad op på loftet.
this. He said, "I
Så profeterede
see
han.
you at the well,
Jeg ser dig ved kilden eller ved brønden.
spreading the things from the well to other places."
Hvordan du tager tingene fra brønden og bringer det ud forskellige steder.
So, how many years ago was that?
4.
4?
Yeah.
4 years ago. So 3 months ago, we joined the church called The Well.
For 3 måneder siden, så gik vi ind i kirken, som hedder Brønden, eller The Well på engelsk.
And I'm pretty certain from fairly soon after finding the church
For jeg ved,
and the leader, who I see as my father now,
og kort efter vi fandt den her kirke med det her navn, og den leder, som nu er min åndelige far,
I knew we'd move there.
vidste jeg, at vi skulle flytte derhen.
But between that prophetic word
Men mellem det profetiske
and its
ord
fulfillment
og det gik i
is a
opfyldelse,
process
er der en proces,
certainly me and Mel getting ready and becoming more mature.
at Merle og jeg skulle blive mere modne og være klar.
So by the time I take the step,
Så på det tidspunkt, jeg tager
I
skridtet,
am fully confident
så jeg
and
har i fuld
thankful
tillid,
that this is God's agenda for us.
i fuld tillid og taknemmelig for, at det er det, som Gud
Does that
vil for
make
os.
sense?
Giver det mening?
And I would always urge you,
Jeg
when
vil
you
altid
hear a
sige,
prophetic word,
at hvis du
from
hører et
someone,
profetisk ord,
first of all record it,
optag det først og fremmest.
but do not give it the weight of Scripture. It's not the same thing. Do not give it the same weight as Scripture.
Nå, men I skal ikke give det samme betydning som Guds ord.
Yeah, do not, because it's not the same thing.
Det er ikke det samme som Guds ord.
We prophesy in our human bodies.
Vi profeterer
And make
i vores
mistakes.
menneskelige status.
It's not the same as Scripture.
Det er ikke det samme som Guds
But do
ord.
record it, because it's good to
Men
record.
optag det.
And then talk to wise pastors,
Og
people who
tal
look
til
after you.
vise
Yeah.
pastorer.
Yeah, I think I will carry on answering this question. There's some stuff worth doing here. I was at a conference in the north of England,
Jeg var til et møde i Nordengland, konference,
and 3 people gave me exactly the same prophetic word.
og 3 mennesker kom og gav mig præcis det samme profetiske ord.
Exactly the same word.
Det samme ord.
And one of them was this really old lady
Og den ene var sådan en rigtig gammel dame,
who didn't look like she could sit, let
Som-
alone give these prophetic words.
som ikke så ud som en, der bare kunne sidde der og give
And
profetiske
we were at
ord.
the end of the meeting,
Og ved enden af mødet,
and I was praying for her,
og jeg bad for hende,
and she said, "Can I pray for you?"
og så spurgte hun, må jeg bede for dig?
And if I'm honest,
Og hvis jeg er helt
I
ærlig,
thought, I am a bit busy
jeg tænkte faktisk,
praying for people,
jeg har faktisk lidt travlt med at skulle bede
You
for
know.
mennesker.
but go ahead
Men okay,
if you want to.
Hvis du
I
gerne
will
vil,
let you pray for me.
så må du gerne bede.
Silly me. She laid her hands on me, and I went straight down.
hun lagde hånd på mig, og jeg røg i gulvet.
I have since learned that this lady is known for doing this,
Og jeg har sidenhen lært, at det er hun
and
kendt for,
calling out huge things to very significant people.
og siger store ting ind over forskellige mennesker.
But she called out this very significant word to me.
Da hun sagde det her helt specielle ord til
Countries
mig,
I would go to, people I would meet, what I
steder
would
jeg vil
see.
gå, folk jeg vil møde, hvad jeg vil se.
And at the end of it, she used this phrase
Og til slut sagde hun det her,
to describe
for
a summary of it.
at beskrive det.
And then that phrase, I'm just getting up off the floor,
Jeg er på vej til at rejse mig op på
another
gulvet.
very prophetic person who is working in the room with me comes over and says exactly the same phrase to
Så
me.
kommer en af dem, som jeg betjener
And
sammen
then-
med, og kommer og siger til mig præcis det samme, som hun har sagt.
And then another friend of mine who is at the other end of the room but has a microphone stands on a chair and shouts the same phrase at me.
Og en ven, som sidder nede bag i rummet, rejser sig op på en stol og råber præcis det samme til mig.
And I'm overwhelmed.
Og jeg er bare helt blæst omkuld.
It's not just the same phrase,
Det er ikke
it's
bare-
what was said,
Det er ikke bare den samme sætning, men det var
where
det, der
I'm
var
going to
sagt.
go, what I'm going to do, who I'm
Hvad jeg
going to
skulle,
meet.
hvor jeg skulle hen, hvem jeg skulle møde, hvad jeg skulle gøre.
So the first thing I did
Det første, jeg gjorde,
was 2 days later, I went and found the wisest man I know.
gik jeg til den viseste mand, jeg kender.
Can I come and see you?
Hvor jeg kom hen og besøge dig.
I want some advice about this. What would you do?
Jeg vil have noget råd omkring det her. Hvad vil du gøre?
Tell me what you would do.
Hvad vil du gøre?
And he gave me the wisest piece of advice I've ever had.
Og jeg fik det viseste, jeg nogensinde har fået.
Thank you, that's most useful. Thank you, bless you.
Det var
And
det vidunderligt.
he said goodbye to me and went, go and make me proud. You know.
Så han sagde til mig,
And I
tag
tell that
afsted
story
og gør mig
because
stolt.
I could have gone, well, that's that then.
Jeg kunne have rejst mig op og sagt, ja, men det var så det.
Every prophetic word requires you to process it.
Et hvert profetisk ord skal igennem en vis proces,
To understand what it means.
for at man kan forstå, hvad det betyder.
To really, because you can think you know what it means.
For det kan godt være, at du tror, at du ved, hvad det betyder.
It's like cows who eat the grass,
Det er ligesom, når en ko spiser.
then they throw it up,
Den der
then they eat it again,
gylper det op og spiser det en gang til.
then they throw it up,
Og så gylper
and then
det
they
op
eat it again.
og spiser det igen.
It's a bit like that. I remember a story of someone I gave a prophetic word to. The couple were debating whether to go and live in the Turks and Caicos.
Det var, jeg har ikke husket en historie med et par, som jeg profeterede til. De var ved en diskussion, om de skulle forlade noget bestemt.
Stay in England
Skal vi blive i
or go and
England,
live in the Turks and Caicos?
eller flytte til det her land?
And the word I had for them was stay.
Og jeg havde ordet bliv.
So that's pretty clear, I think.
Det var meget tydeligt, synes jeg.
When I found out what was going on, I thought, well, that's clear.
Da jeg ligesom fandt ud af, hvad det var, der skete, så det var jo egentlig klart.
And the husband said to me,
Og så sagde manden til mig,
yes, but do we stay here or do we stay in the Turks and Caicos?
men skal vi blive her, eller skal vi blive der, hvor vi flytter hen?
And I thought that was pretty clear, but he needs to process it now.
Jeg troede, det var meget klart, men han havde brug for ligesom at processere det her.
So it's your own spirit.
Det er din egen ånd.
How did it feel when it was said? That can
Hvordan
matter.
føler du, da det bliver sagt?
Wise counsel from
Gode råd
leaders.
fra ledere.
A prophetic word is not the same thing as the authority structure in a church advising you pastorally what you should do.
Et profetisk ord er ikke det samme som, at autoriteten i kirken fortæller dig, hvad du kunne gøre.
They, the pastors, I'm pointing at where Frank would be if he was here.
Dem, så pastoren Frank,
they have a job to present you mature.
de har et arbejde i at skulle få dig
It
til at
says,
blive moden.
pray for you, those that look after you.
Bibelen siger, at vi skal bede for dem,
That's
som
not my
ser
job in
efter.
this church.
Det er ikke mit arbejde i den her kirke.
My job in this church is to pass on a word and then run away.
I den her kirke, der skal jeg bare give et ord, så skal jeg løbe væk.
Yeah. Frank, how's it going? Oh, Ian.
Frank, hvordan går det? Altså, Ian.
You see?
Kan I forstå det?
I want to honor Frank the first time we met.
Jeg vil gerne give Frank
He
den
said to
ære,
me,
at første gang vi mødtes.
Say whatever you want.
Sig lige meget, hvad
I
du har
will
lyst til.
tidy up the mess afterwards.
Jeg skal nok rydde op efter dig.
Right.
Okay.
Do you see?
Kan I se det?
Because we have different jobs. My
Vi har
job is,
forskellige arbejde.
prophetic's job is to point you towards the plans God has for you.
Det profetiske arbejde er ligesom at vise dig hen mod de planer, Gud har for dig.
Particularly a visiting prophetic voice.
Specielt hvis det er en profet, der kommer på besøg.
The job of the pastors, the teachers, is to
Lærerne
present you mature.
og pastoren, det er ligesom at præsentere dig som moden menneske.
And I'll be absolutely honest with you. There's one situation
Lad mig blive helt ærlig. Der er en
here
situation
where someone said to me,
her i Bikim, hvor en sagde til mig,
I don't think Frank would agree.
hvor personen sagde, jeg tror ikke, at Frank han er helt enig
And
med
I
det.
said, well, in that case, Frank's right.
Så sagde jeg, og hvis Frank siger sådan, så har Frank ret.
Because he's responsible.
Fordi det er ham, der har ansvaret.
And they went, what if he's not right?
Hvad så, hvis han ikke har ret?
And I went, well, then you convince him.
Så må du overbevise ham.
But don't put my name into it.
Men
Convince
du
him
skal
anyway.
ikke putte mit navn i det. Det er dig, der skal overbevise ham.
Does that help?
Hjælp det?
Any other questions?
Andre spørgsmål?
So none of you are to tell Frank what I said, okay?
Så der er ikke nogen af der må fortælle Frank, hvad jeg lige har sagt.
And particularly the bit of never listen to the pastor. Don't tell him I said that at all.
Specielt det der må ikke lytte til pastoren, det har jeg ikke sagt.
You ought to know just so I told a story about when someone said, well, you and Frank disagree, and I just said, well, Frank's right.
Det eneste, jeg fortalte, var bare lige det der med, at der var en, der sagde, det vil Frank ikke være enig med mig i, og så sagde jeg, så har Frank ret.
It's not just out of respect, it's out of an understanding of where the authority structure in a church lives.
Det er ikke bare respekt over for en person, men det er den autoritetsstruktur, der er i en kirke.
Yeah. Good. And I think actually, if as a prophetic person, the pastor in the church understands that I understand that makes me a much safer person.
Men hvis en pastor er en profetisk person, som også forstår det her, det gør også mig mere sikker.
Any other questions?
Andre spørgsmål?
Okay, we've got till, is it half full?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I want to spend a little bit of time just looking at that diagram and talking about it a little bit from Ephesians chapter 4, if I may.
Så jeg vil bare bruge lidt tid på at kigge på det her diagram og gå lidt ud fra Efeserne 4.
You may be aware of that word shepherd is pastor in many of the translations.
Bare for at gøre det klart, så er hyrden, det er pastoren.
In some of the American translations, it's shepherd, and actually,
i nogle amerikanske
oversættelser, it allows you to create this title of what's called apest, A-P-E-S-T, apest, and therefore that's why it's used a lot in a lot.
Det er noget, det vi ikke kan oversætte på dansk, fordi det er rent engelsk, det med apest.
But in your Bible, it may well be that word shepherd is pastor.
Men på dansk så er det, der hedder hyrden, det er pastoren.
In lots of developing world situations, the word pastor is actually the title of the leader of the church, and therefore that can be very confusing.
I nogle kirker så er pastoren den, der er lederen af kirken.
Let's quickly look at the passage together, if we can, from Ephesians chapter 4.
Så lad os gå til Efeserbrevet kapitel 4.
It's another chapter where Paul is describing how the body works.
Det er et andet sted, hvor Gud eller Paulus fortæller, hvordan legemet fungerer.
So verse 1, just read verse 1 out, please, Kim.
4:1.
Ephesians chapter 4, verse 1.
Jeg, der er fangen for Herrens skyld, formaner jer der til at leve, så det svarer til det kald, I fik.
So he starts by saying, live a life worthy.
Han siger, lev et liv, som er det værdigt.
See, if I was writing that chapter,
hvis jeg havde skrevet det her,
I would start with verse 11.
Hvis jeg havde skrevet det her kapitel, så ville jeg have startet med vers 11.
He calls some to be apostles, some to be prophets.
Han har kaldt nogen til at være apostle, nogen til at være profeter, andre til at være
some to be teachers, some to be evangelists. I'd start with that.
Pastorer, evangelister og lærere.
Paul doesn't start with that. He starts with,
det er ikke det, Paulus starter med.
Live a life worthy.
Men han starter med, lev et liv værdigt. Så siger han det her.
Verses 2 and 3, please.
Så siger han det her, med al ydmyghed og mildhed, med tålmodighed, så I bærer over med hinanden i kærlighed, og stræber efter at fastholde åndens enhed med fredens bånd.
Make every effort to keep the bond of peace.
Gør alt for at holde fred.
Do you remember the passage we started with?
Kan I huske det, vi startede med?
Ephesians, from Galatians, where he starts the same thing. Before he talks about what's going on with the fruit, he talks about peace, keep together, make every effort for unity.
Det er ligesom det, han startede med, da vi startede undervisningen i dag, det med, at inden han går ind på alt det med åndens gaver, så starter han også med, at der skal holdes fred. Der skal holde fred med hinanden.
And I'm seeing more and more all these passages to do with how the church operates.
Jeg kan se mere og mere, hvordan det her det har noget at gøre med, hvordan kirken fungerer.
What its DNA is.
Hvad dens DNA er.
How the gifts work.
Hvordan gaverne fungerer.
Paul always starts with.
Paulus starter altid med.
Do everything to keep unity.
Gør alt for at holde enheden.
And he always finishes with.
Og han slutter altid med.
By the way, do everything to keep unity.
Hold fast i at være enige.
So in verse 4 and 5 and 6.
I vers 4, 5 og 6.
He says there is one spirit.
Så siger han der er én ånd.
In Corinthians he says the same spirit.
I Korintherbrevet siger han samme ånd.
And he goes on in many of the passages the same way.
Og han fortsætter i mange af de passager på samme måde.
Do not think of yourselves more highly than you ought.
Tænk ikke om jer selv højere end I bør.
In Corinthians he says the hand should not say to the eye, I don't need you.
Og hånden i Korinther siger han, hånden skal ikke sige til øjet, jeg har ikke brug for dig.
It's the same points, which is
det er de samme ting.
We all need each other.
Og essensen er, vi har alle brug for hinanden.
And it's from the same source.
Og det er ud fra den samme kilde.
To one is given a knowledge, to another is given prophecy. It's the same Spirit.
En får kundskab, en anden får profeti, men det er samme kilde.
This is to defeat people, the
Det er for-
lies of the enemy.
Det er for at besejre de folk, som lyver,
Well, I have a spirit of prophecy.
eller som tror på løgnen fra fjenden. Altså, jeg har en profetiens ånd.
And then someone else says, well, I have a gift of healing.
Og en anden siger, men jeg har en helbredelsesgave.
Well, I have a gift of teaching, and teaching is more important than...
Men jeg har undervisningsgave, så den er mere vigtig.
It's the same Spirit.
Det er den samme ånd.
It's the same body.
Det er det samme legeme.
Before he even talks about these roles,
Inden han taler om de her roller,
keep unity.
hold enheden.
Stay humble.
Vær
It's the
ydmyg.
same Spirit.
Det er den samme ånd.
The other passages are just the same.
Og de andre passager er præcis det samme.
And then there's a really interesting bit about the ascension,
Så er der noget der er omkring opstandelsen,
up to verse 11.
indtil vers 11.
And what Paul is saying there is,
Og det Paulus siger der er,
Christ won a victory on the cross.
at Kristus vandt en sejr på korset,
And like any victory,
og som ved alle
there
sejre,
are spoils of war.
så er der
There are
ting,
the benefits of the
ja, så
victory.
er der det, der man får ud af sejren.
And so one of the benefits of the victory
Og en af de ting, vi fik ud af den sejr,
is Christ on high,
at Kristus i
in
høj
victory,
sidder øverst,
reigning on the throne,
sidder på tronen,
now gives gifts to the church.
og nu han sidder på tronen, så giver han gaver til menigheden.
Again, remember we are on the winning side.
Husk på, at vi er på den vindende side.
And then he lists 5 roles.
Og så giver han 5
Most people would
funktioner.
argue, as well as them being roles in the church, they are functions that people fulfill in the church as well.
Det er funktioner, som folk opfylder i menigheden.
The gifts he gave, verse 11,
De gaver, han gav,
were that some would be apostles,
at nogen skulle være apostle,
some would be prophets,
nogen være profeter,
some evangelists,
nogen evangelister,
some shepherds,
nogen hyrder
some teachers.
og lærere.
There's a sense in which Paul is writing, he bequeaths to the church what he leaves as a legacy to the church for all time, these things.
Han giver det her til menigheden for alt, altså for altid.
It's a bit like if I wrote a last will and testament.
Hvis
It's
jeg,
my final say.
det er ligesom mit
I
sidste
have
ord.
described what I'm giving.
Mit sidste ord i testamentet,
That's it.
det er det her, hvad jeg vil give, og så er det sådan, det er.
That's what he's doing.
Det er det, han gør.
And then he describes in verse 12 why.
Og så beskriver han, hvorfor i vers 12.
To equip the saints,
For at udruste de hellige,
that's us.
det er os.
For the work of ministry,
For at gøre,
for building up the body of Christ,
for at gøre tjeneste,
to unite us all,
så Kristi legeme
to
bygges
come
op,
to unity,
indtil vi alle når frem
in the
til
knowledge
enhed
of the Son of God,
i troen og erkendelsen af Guds søn,
to measure the full stature of Christ.
til at være et fuldvoksen menneske, en vækst, som kan rumme Kristi fylde.
Okay, how are we doing for time? I've got half an hour. Okay. So we understand the teacher role.
Vi forstår underviserens eller
The teacher is like the
lærerens
head
rolle.
in this body.
Læreren
It's
er
the
oppe i
mind.
hovedet på det her
Yeah.
legeme. Det er oppe i hovedet, det foregår.
If you've got teaching gifts,
Hvis du har
not
undervisningsgaver,
only are you teaching in the church, but you're very analytical in understanding things.
men hvis du er meget analytisk og forstår ting,
Now, there can be teachers who teach to millions,
der er lærere, som underviser millioner,
travel the world,
rejser verden rundt.
but to start with,
Men for at starte,
people who have teaching gift,
så dem, der har en
the
lærergave,
first person they teach is themselves.
den første, de underviser, er dem selv.
They understand the Bible and they teach themselves.
De forstår Bibelen, og de underviser
Then
sig
maybe
selv.
they teach their wife
Og måske
or their
underviser
husband.
deres,
Maybe they teach
Kone.
their children.
deres børn.
Then maybe they teach in the small group.
Måske underviser i en lille gruppe,
Then maybe they teach in the church.
og måske underviser de i
Then
kirken.
maybe they teach at conferences. You
Måske
see?
på konferencer.
Now, at the top of this is a role of, international teacher.
Ligesom på toppen af det her, det er ligesom en
But
rolle eller
that's
funktion på international plan.
But the bottom of this is just in my house group, I'm explaining how the Bible works. Do you see?
Og ligesom forneden er ligesom at forklare i min cellegruppe, at sådan fungerer Bibelen.
Is this
Sådan er
making
Bibelen.
sense?
Giver det mening?
So I think what Paul is describing is these things
Det Paulus beskriver er, at disse ting
are in all of us.
er i alle os.
Which ones are in you?
Hvilken er i dig?
Because in a bit we want to pray for it.
For om
So
et øjeblik vil vi
prophet.
bede for det. Så profeten.
We've talked about this a little already.
Vi har,
Again, there are, prophet, man of God,
der er
travels the world.
profeten, Guds mand, som rejser rundt
And
i
at the bottom
verden.
of this is a 6-year-old girl gives a picture to someone in a meeting.
For ligesom nede for det her, der er den 6-årige pige, som giver et billede til en i menigheden.
Yeah, and everything in between.
Og alt det imellem.
Yeah, it's still part of this DNA of how the church is designed to work.
Men det er DNA'et, hvordan en kirke skal fungere.
Yesterday, I had the great privilege of praying with Cecilia.
I går så havde jeg det store fornøjelse af at bede med Cecilie.
And Cecilia, 3 or 4 years ago, gave me and my wife the best picture, the most accurate picture I've ever received.
Og Cecilie gav for 3 år siden en af de mest perfekte billeder til mig og min kone.
And when we were praying with her yesterday, I was praying with her yesterday.
Og da vi bad i går,
She looks just like that little girl.
så så hun sådan ligesom den
But I
lille
hadn't
pige.
worked out the little girl had grown up.
Men den lille pige er godt nok vokset op.
And then she said, I don't know if you remember me, but I gave you the picture of the rock that didn't sink. And I went, that's you! I went, that's the best picture I've ever received. I talk about that all the time.
Hun kom ind og sagde, jeg ved ikke, om I kan huske mig, men det var mig, der gav billedet af den her sten, eller klippe, som ikke ville synke. Altså, Ian sagde, nej, er det dig? Hold op, det er det bedste billede, jeg nogensinde har fået.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Kan I forstå, hvad jeg siger?
It's all these layers.
Det er altid på den måde.
And it's teams as well.
Og det er i
It's not just
teams,
individuals, it's teams.
ikke bare
We're
individuelle.
making teams together. Shepherds.
Hyrder.
The shepherd is the heart.
Hyrden, det er
If you
hjertet.
look at that, the teacher is the head. This is my image. The
Læreren,
prophet
det er
is
hovedet.
the ears and eyes and mouth.
Profeten, det er ører og øjne og mund.
The shepherd is the heart.
Hyrden, det er hjertet.
Shepherds go around going, "You all right? Is everything okay?"
Hyrden, det er den grund til,
Can I help with
hvordan har du
anything?
det?
How you feeling?
Er alting okay?
The care.
Hvordan
The
føler
care.
du? Hvordan har du det?
Prophets don't do that.
Det gør profeter ikke.
I don't go to people and say, "How you doing? Are you okay?
Jeg går ikke rundt til folk og siger, hvordan har du det?
Do you need
Er
some
du okay?
help?" I go to people and go, "The Lord says."
Jeg går til folk og siger, Herren siger.
Do you see? Different people,
Forskellige
different
mennesker.
risks, different roles.
Forskellige roller,
The same body, though.
men samme
The
lægeme,
same spirit.
samme ånd.
I, as a prophetic person, cannot say, "You don't need the pastor.
Jeg kan ikke som profetisk
You
person
don't
sige,
need
du
the
har ikke brug for hyrden,
You
Du har ikke
don't
brug for
need the
evangelisten.
teacher. You
Du har
just
ikke brug
need
for
me."
du har kun brug for mig.
Yeah. In fact, I see a lot of places where churches are just run by an evangelist.
Jeg har mødt flere kirker, hvor kirkerne bare bliver styret af en evangelist.
They bring a lot of people in,
De får masser af mennesker ind,
but they don't care for them.
men de
They
tager sig
don't
ikke af dem.
teach them.
De lærer dem ikke.
Because the point is, Jesus did not make it a one-man show where one person can do all of this. He
Men
made
Jesus-
it a team.
Jesus gjorde det ikke til en enmandsshow, som skulle klare det hele. Det skal være et team.
Apostle, very briefly,
Apostle meget hurtigt.
we have an understanding of the word apostle.
Vi har en
is
forståelse af
A
ordet apostel.
most senior man,
En meget højt
possibly looks after lots of churches,
ældre mand, som ser efter en masse kirker.
wise,
Vis.
sort of a senior pastor.
En senior pastor.
Nothing wrong with that, by the way. I'm not saying
Ikke noget
that's an
forkert med det.
incorrect assessment.
Ikke
But
at sige
the
det forkert.
apostle word that's described in the New Testament,
Men apostel i det
Didn't
nye
mean
testamente betyder ikke det.
what it meant was
Men det betød var,
it was a person whose job it was to go to a new territory
det var en person, som var
and
sendt ud til
make
et
it
nyt
look like it looks at home.
territorium og fik det til at se ud, som det gjorde derhjemme.
So when the Romans took over England,
Da romerne overtog
they would
England,
send an apostle,
så sendte de en
a
apostel,
messenger.
en budbringer.
Caesar would send that person
Cæsar sendte den person,
and say, "You've got 5 years to turn that into Rome."
og I har 5 år til at bringe det her til at være en vej. Nej, Rom. Nej, det var Rom, ikke road. Det var Rom,
When I
ja.
come and visit in 5 years, it had better look like Rome.
Så når jeg kommer tilbage om 5 år, så skal
I
det
want
ligne
straight
Rom.
roads.
Jeg vil have lige
I
veje.
want good plumbing.
Jeg vil have
I
god
want good buildings.
vandførsel og
Ja.
gode
Do you see? Good buildings.
bygninger.
Yeah. Do you see?
Kan I se?
That's what the actual word apostle means. It means someone who creates culture.
Det er det, som
That's-
apostel betyder, at skabe kultur.
That's why in this diagram it's the hands, because hands
Det er
build.
derfor, det er
don't
hænderne.
they? They're sent by Caesar. Yeah. It means a sent one.
Ja, apostel betyder at være sendt.
That's what apostles do. They build culture.
De bygger kultur.
So one day Jesus will come here and he'll go, looks just like heaven, well done.
En dag kommer Jesus her og siger, det ser ud ligesom i himlen. Fint.
So here's my point. You can have apostolic gifting
Du kan have en apostolsk gave
for your house,
for dit eget hus.
because you can turn your house into heaven.
Fordi du kan forvandle dit eget hus til himlen.
You can turn your school into heaven.
Du kan forvandle
You
dit
can
skole
turn
til
your
himlen.
work into heaven.
Dit arbejdsplads.
You're doing the work of an apostle.
Så gør du et arbejde som apostel.
Now, I understand the word has other meanings,
Jeg ved også, at ordet har
and
andre
I don't want to
betydninger.
negate any of those.
Og det vil jeg ikke se ned
I'm
på.
just saying that the original word
Men
was
originale ord
about creating culture.
var om at skabe kultur.
Apostles build, evangelists the feet. How lovely are the feet of an evangelist. Evangelists travel. They go, can I tell you
En
about Jesus?
evangelist
Can I tell you
rejser.
stories? Can I tell you stories about Jesus, please?
Short, ja.
You know, that's what the evangelists do.
Kan jeg fortælle om Jesus? Det er det, evangelister gør.
You see?
Kan I se det?
So here's what I propose.
Så her hvad jeg foreslår.
In this room,
I det her rum,
we have all of that gifting
så har vi alle de her gaver
in different layers.
i forskellige
different levels.
niveauer.
I am not asking you to put your hand up to say you're an apostle of God who needs to travel around the world.
Jeg forlanger ikke, at du skal løfte din hånd og sige, at jeg er apostel, Guds apostel, og jeg skal rejse jorden rundt.
I might ask you to put your hand up to say, yes, I understand I am building culture where I work.
Men jeg vil godt have dig til at løfte hånden, hvis du
I
ved,
am
at du
building
bygger,
culture at home
at du
with my
skaber
family.
kultur derhjemme eller på
Se.
dit arbejde.
So please don't misunderstand.
Så misforstå mig ikke.
So Paul is saying that Jesus builds all of these into the church.
Så Paulus siger, at Jesus bygger alt det her ind i kirken.
So I think all of these are here.
Så jeg tror, at alle de her er her.
And as we finish, I'd like to release that gifting.
Og så når vi slutter, så vil jeg gerne have, at vi frigør
Now,
de her
Let me
gaver.
just say again safely.
Lad mig sige igen.
If I pray for you and I say, I think you've got some apostolic gifting in you, that does not mean you go and see Frank and say, Ian says, I'm now the apostle. You need to
Så-
stand down.
Så hvis jeg fortæller dig, når vi beder bagefter, at du har en apostolsk tjeneste eller funktion, så skal du ikke gå til Frank og sige, Frank, så er du nødt til at stige ned, fordi jeg har fået en gave.
I merely want to teach well, but Frank will ring me next week and say, Ian,
Jeg vil gerne undervise godt, men det der med, at Frank han ringer næste uge og siger, Ian,
I've had 4 people in my office this week.
der har været 4 mennesker inde hos mig i den her uge.
This is not good.
Det her det er ikke godt.
I booked you in for 2027.
Jeg vil gerne have, at du kommer tilbage i 2027.
But you see what I'm getting at?
Kan I forstå, hvad jeg mener?
I am seeking to point out
Jeg forsøger ligesom at vise jer,
the plan for the church
at planen for kirken,
Jesus gives us
som Jesus giver os,
is for these things to be amongst us all,
at de her ting skal være blandt os,
operating together,
fungerende sammen,
with all those parts respecting and understanding each other.
og alle de her dele respekterer og forstår hinanden.
What's a body like without legs?
Hvad er et legeme uden ben?
What's a body like without a head?
Hvad er et legeme uden hoved?
What's a body like without eyes?
Hvad er det uden øjne?
That's it, really.
Det er
Now,
faktisk det,
is
det
that a
er.
question, by the way? You got your hand up. Yeah, go on. Yes, sir.
I'm thinking, can you only be isolated one thing, or can you have something?
Lovely question. Lovely question. And the answer
Har man kun én ting, eller kan man have flere tingene?
I'd be very interested what Frank thinks of that, actually. Do you have can I carry on, or do you want to answer? Yeah. So my view is
Det er sådan, som jeg ser det er.
you can have more than one of those in you.
Du kan have flere af de her ting i dig.
It talks about prophets and apostles laying foundations for churches.
Det bliver sagt, at apostler og profeter
That's
lægger
in
fundamenter for
Galatians.
menigheder
And
i Galaterbrevet.
I would argue that some of the things I do are prophetic, and sometimes they're apostolic, because I create culture and I create foundations in places.
Jeg vil sige, at noget af det, jeg gør, det er, at i nogle steder lægger jeg fundament og skaber kultur, så det er både profetisk og apostolsk.
That doesn't mean I go, hello, I'm prophet
Så det er ikke fordi,
and apostle.
jeg stiller mig frem og siger, jeg er profeten,
Here's
jeg er
my card.
apostlen. Her er mit kort.
Here's my card. Bow before me.
Bøj jer foran mig.
What I'm saying is I do understand sometimes in situations I have to do 2 of those. And of course, I teach.
Nogle situationer har jeg 2 af de her funktioner, og nogle gange så underviser jeg også.
So I'm just talking about me now, yeah? What I'm bad at is shepherding.
Det jeg er rigtig dårlig til, det er at være hyrde.
Literally, I go, I really can't be bothered with someone
Faktisk så nogle gange så
someone
tænker
else
jeg,
sort
ved du
that.
hvad, det er mig fuldstændig
Please.
ligegyldigt.
You know? And I think what the church misses is
hvad men-
evangelists.
Og noget af det, som kirken ligesom
I
virkelig
think
mangler,
there's a
det er
real-
evangelister.
It's a real lack of.
Det er lige virkelig en mangel.
So the answer to your question, lots of people can have lots of those. I don't think
Så
it's
flere
just one.
mennesker kan have en hel del af det her.
Because I think it's difficult when you ask, are you this, are you this? It's difficult to be isolated about one.
Well, I did a big launch for a huge thing in Uganda where, you know, we had this overnight prayer conference, and Africans, overnight means overnight, you know, really.
Jeg lavede noget i Uganda engang, da vi havde sådan en natte gudstjeneste ting, og når de snakker, og de gør det om natten, så gør de det om natten. Hele
Ja.
natten.
I was double booked, so I had one until 3 a.m. and then one from 3 a.m. to 6 a.m.
Så jeg havde et møde til klokken 3 om morgenen, og fra klokken 3 og videre frem.
And it was for a very big organization, the first one.
Det var først for en meget stor organisation.
And I asked people, the very thing you just said, I said, look, you don't have to just put yourself forward for one.
Jeg spurgte mennesker og sagde, lige akkurat som du sagde,
What do you think God has for you?
hvad tror du, at Gud har til dig?
And the whole front row
Og hele første række
asked for all 5.
ville have alle 5.
They just simply went, we think we're all of them.
Jeg tror, vi er alle 5.
Sometimes we do that, sometimes we do that,
Nogle
sometimes
gange gør
we
vi
do
det
that.
her, nogle gange gør vi det her, eller det her.
And I thought, well, I'm not one to tell them that's wrong. So I was praying for that for all of them.
Så jeg vil ikke sige til dem, de var forkerte, så jeg bad for dem.
But it's good to know if you've got certain things in you, isn't it?
Men det
If
er
you're
godt at
made-
vide, hvis
if
du har
God-
nogle af de her forskellige ting i dig.
If God has made you a shepherd,
Hvis Gud
you
har
care
gjort dig
about
til en
people, it's
hyrde,
good to know that that's what you're there for, isn't it?
og du tager dig af mennesker, så er det godt at vide, at det er derfor, du
Ja.
er der.
If you're a teacher, it's good to know that.
Og hvis du lærer, at det er godt at vide.
The best thing about that list as I look at it,
Det bedste ved listen, når
I
jeg ser på den,
know I'm not a shepherd.
er, at jeg ved, at
That's
jeg ikke er
actually quite
hyrde.
handy.
Det er faktisk dejligt.
Because it means when I suddenly find myself in a situation where I have to be a shepherd,
Så når jeg befinder mig i en situation, hvor
I
jeg
know
skal være
full well
hyrde,
I'm not going to be very good.
så ved jeg, at det ikke
And
vil
I
lykkes særlig
can-
godt.
I can suggest other people
Så jeg kan guide til
who
andre
know what they're
mennesker,
doing.
som ved,
get
hvad de
involved.
gør i sådan en
I
situation.
look at some of the situations where I look back and I go, I have done that very badly because I tried to be the shepherd.
Og jeg kigger tilbage på situationer, hvor jeg tænker, det gjorde jeg meget, meget dårligt, fordi jeg forsøgte at være hyrde.
Is that helpful? Does
Yeah,
that answer your question? So, do not feel it's arrogant to go, yeah, I'll have that. Yeah, I'll have that one as well. Yeah, I'll have that one as well. Thank you. Yes, I'll have that one. Yeah, I'll have all of them. Nothing wrong with that. And remember, at the level, I'm not asking you to travel the world as an evangelist.
Thank you. I skal ikke være bange for at række hånden op, hvis han spørger, hvad det ligesom er, at den ene eller den anden. Det må gerne være flere, og han siger ikke til jer, at fordi I siger evangelist, så skal I rejse verden rundt. But one question.
Okay. You have to sit there if you're asking questions.
Now you're talking about this level and that level.
Mm.
But are you saying that there's more in that than in that level? Is it more profound to be here than there?
Oh, no. Yeah, and then in Danish. Oh.
Nu,
Are you saying that there's more in the levels? Okay.
når Ian siger, at det her det er det højeste niveau, og det her det er det laveste niveau, er det så fordi det her det er bedre end det her? Er der mere ved det her, end at være lavt? Altså det er jo mere også for den forståelse, skal frem. Oh.
Okay. Can I answer now? Yeah. It is merely about. I had a picture once of being given my orders from the Lord, a paper with what I got to do on.
Jeg fik engang et billede af, hvordan jeg fik mine ordre fra Gud på et stykke papir.
For one of another way of putting it, a letter of authority.
Et brev, sådan en autoritetsbrev.
This was my territory. This is what I got.
Det her var mit territorium, det var, hvad jeg skulle gøre.
That was mine. Okay, that's what he wants me to do.
Okay, det var det Gud ville, jeg skulle gøre.
That has no more significance than someone being given a completely different territory, a completely different level, because it's only always about obedience.
Og det, at en anden har fået et andet territorium, en anden ting at gøre, har ikke noget at gøre med det mere eller mindre. Det har noget at gøre med lydighed.
Yes.
I would add that the devil will want you to not do what God wants you to do.
Djævlen vil altid forsøge at få dig til ikke at gøre det, Gud vil, at du skal gøre.
So let's say you're a shepherd in your heart. You care about people.
Lad os sige, at du er hyrde i dit hjerte, og du virkelig tager dig af
A
mennesker.
better example, let's say you're an evangelist.
Lad os sige, at du er evangelist,
And you're doing a fantastic job in a church.
og du gør et fantastisk arbejde i kirken.
You're bringing people in.
Du får folk til at
You're
komme
telling
ind.
people at work about God.
Du fortæller
You're
mennesker
inviting
om
them to come to
om
church.
Jesus, og du inviterer dem i kirken.
The devil's plan will get you to stop doing that.
Og djævelens plan vil være at få dig til at stoppe med at gøre det.
And one of his biggest tactics
Og en af hans største
is to tell
taktikker,
you you are unregarded.
at du unregarded.
You don't fit in.
Okay, en af hans tricks, det er at sige, du passer ikke ind.
No one values you.
Ingen siger, du har værdi,
And you need to be doing it at bigger levels.
og du skal gøre det på et højere niveau.
I think different levels occur over time to do with training and attitude.
Forskellige niveauer kan komme gennem træning og attitude.
But it's completely incorrect to think one day
Det er
I
forkert
will
at
be
tænke,
rewarded
så får jeg løn,
by traveling the world and teaching people.
så får jeg løn efter at have rejst rundt i verden og undervist mennesker.
It's just as I say. The key here is the obedience of what you've been given as
Nøglen
an
er
area to work in.
lydigheden over for det, vi er blevet givet.
And sometimes I think God gives you an area that He can trust you with.
Og nogle gange giver Gud dig et område,
And when
han
you've
vil stole
shown
dig
trust,
på, hvor han
He'll
vil
give you
stole
something
dig.
else. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Giver det mening?
Have we answered your question well?
Ja.
In the book, How to Hear God, it talks about attitude brings altitude.
I bogen om at høre Gud, der siger lydighed bringer.
Yeah, I think I'm going to rewrite that slightly because I think it slightly misleads. I think obedience
Jeg tror, at det med at være lydig
obedience brings contentment
bringer hen til tilfredshed.
is how I'd write it now. I am perfectly happy because
Yeah,
there is
imagine-
an Ian Banner shaped peg in an Ian Banner shaped hole.
Det jeg ønsker at sige med det er, at ligesom man skal have en rund pind i et rundt hul, så skal det også være det, Ian han siger bare, så skal jeg være en Ian-formet pind, der skal passe i et Ian-formet hul.
Does that make sense? The devil will want me to move somewhere else.
Djævlen vil gerne have, at jeg flytter mig hen
not
et andet sted og gør noget andet.
I'm not going to. So I'll make it very practical. God has not released me to a certain country.
Gud har ikke,
I keep
har ikke
getting
forløst mig til et
invites.
bestemt land,
I'm not saying yes to any of them until I hear from God.
og jeg rejser ikke nogen steder hen, uden jeg har hørt det fra Gud.
Question?
Selvom jeg er evangelist, eller om jeg er profet, eller en av de her, for det meste, så er det vel også godt å få prøve de andre områder, fordi det der alt, det formes til å bli i den tjenesten. Hvis du forstår mitt spørsmål. Altså, det kan godt jeg ikke har en shepherd, altså en hyrdes hjerte, og jeg er en evangelist på samme måde, men jeg vil jo også møte mennesker på gaden, hvor jeg vil kunne bruge en hyrdelse.
What he's asking is, if I'm an evangelist, if I'm on the street meeting people and need the shepherd's heart, wouldn't it be good that I've been trained or formed or helped with the other functions?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think there are motivations for all of these roles that blur. The teacher cannot say, I don't need the evangelist. The
Læreren kan ikke
evangelist
sige, jeg har ikke
cannot
brug
say,
for
I don't need the
evangelisten.
shepherd. Even within me, I can't say, I don't need the shepherd. I just need, you know?
Jeg kan ikke bare sige, jeg har ikke brug for hyrden, fordi jeg er profet.
I think it's true, though, that God calls us to certain ones of them as almost like our first call,
Men jeg tror, det er sådan, at
our
Gud kan,
main thought.
jeg tror, det er rigtigt, at Gud kalder os til noget først, ligesom vores hovedopgave, hvis man kan sige sådan, inden de andre ting kommer på.
And of course, he has every right to change that over time,
Og han har alle mulige ret til at forandre det over tid,
unless he isn't God.
fordi han er Gud.
can start off being a teacher and later on be asked to be an evangelist.
Det kan godt være, at man starter som lærer og ender som evangelist.
And you can't, excuse me, God, we
Undskyld,
talked about this 5 years ago.
Undskyld Gud, vi talte om det her
I'm
for
a
5 år
teacher.
siden. Jeg er en lærer.
What are you doing?
Hvad laver du?
Because it's about obedience.
Det har at gøre med at adlyde.
Yeah. It's not about success or failure. It's just about
Det er ikke om
obedience.
succes og fejltagelse. Det er at være lydig.
Is that okay?
Er det okay?
Frank, do you want to add anything to what I said or just anything? Feel
Frank,
free.
vil du tilføje noget?
You okay with it all? Yeah, lovely. Let's just quickly have some time. We've got about 5-10 minutes.
Vi har
Can we have some
lige
music on?
5-10 minutter.
Just playing background, please. We're now in ministry time. Yeah. So all I want to do is just simply this.
Det jeg
I've
ønsker at gøre,
talked
det er,
through. Can I have the picture back up?
kan jeg få billedet op igen?